Can you share a few stories about your experiences with Not For Sale and Set Free? And specifically, can you tell the story of the Thai girl that you found out about here in Greenville?
Sure, certainly. Well, I first came into awareness about human trafficking when I was working at a small liberal arts college in Kansas. And I was leading a group of student leaders to lead campus in a social justice week. And we decided that we were going to learn about human trafficking, and we were going to have a whole week that was about human trafficking. Well, I had to prepare myself, and I read a lot of things online. I read a couple of books, and I was just absorbing every information I could to be ready. And then I learned about how people were taking action and what other campuses were doing. And so that's where I kind of got my start in it. And through that, my heart started to beat about human trafficking and the reality of 27 million individuals who had the image of God stamped on them. I couldn't believe that they were enslaved. I couldn't believe that they were going through so much pain. And I said, I have to do something about this. And so from that point on is where I got connected to Not For Sale. And then as things transpired, I was connected with the Free Methodist Church, and the Free Methodist Church was taking significant action against human trafficking. And so I have the privilege to be the Illinois director with Not For Sale, and I've been with them. I've been to what's called the Global Forum, which is actually happening again this next week, and I have had the opportunity to go to Thailand and to Cambodia and to see some of the worst areas for sex trafficking in Bangkok. I've seen it face to face, and so I've seen the reality. I've seen solutions to human trafficking happening with people who have decided to run a business, such as this beautiful cake and bakery store in the middle of Cambodia's slums. And this woman is employing and rehabilitating girls who've been rescued out of the sex trade. And this is her business, but it's also her ministry. And so I've seen that happen. And my most recent experience in seeing human trafficking was here in Greenville. There was a young Thai girl that came to town, and she walked into a dance studio that's on the square. The owner of that dance studio called me up after the girl left her shop, and she said, Ginger, I think that I've just encountered human trafficking. Can you help me sift through this experience? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So she began to tell me about how this young Thai girl with very broken English came into her store. It was one of our 100-degree days in July, and she was wearing a long sweatshirt and long jeans, and that didn't make sense because it was so hot. And she recanted this mantra about how she was selling jewelry because she was raising money for a leadership program that was doing service opportunities. And the story didn't make much sense, but her English was always also kind of broken. Mm-hmm. But through the conversation, the dance studio owner, she said to the girl, well, why don't you come back when all of the moms are here with their girls because they would love to buy your jewelry. And immediately the Thai girl said, no, I can't. I'm only here for one day. I cannot come back. That was a red flag to this woman. And they continued to talk a little bit, and the young Thai girl discovered that she was a dance teacher, and she said, you're a teacher? Kind of perked up with some interest. And that really was a red flag to this woman too, because why was she so interested in the fact she was a teacher? And looking back on it, I think, well, maybe, a teacher is supposed to help, and maybe this girl had hope that somebody could help her. But as the story goes on, the Thai girl left, and the woman called me, and I said, why don't we go try and find her again? Maybe we can talk to her again. Maybe we can help her, see if she needs help. Well, we got in my car and we drove around town. We didn't find her at that point, and I had to go into a meeting. So I came out of that meeting an hour later, out of Adam Brothers coffee shop, and I saw somebody who fit this description of this young Thai girl across the street over by the Cindy's Flowers. And by the time I got in my car and was able to get over there to see her, she was walking into the auto parts store on 3rd Street, and as she walked out of the auto parts store, she got on a walkie-talkie, and immediately a silver 15-passenger van with tinted windows pulled up, and this girl got in it.
Where specifically does the money go that's donated to Not for Sale and Set Free?
And Set Free. Great. The money donated to Not for Sale, I send it into Not for Sale headquarters, and it gets designated to the Illinois State Fund, and so it allows us to do any of the programming that we do. For instance, we had a 5K a couple weeks ago up in Chicago, and so we were able to resource and provide for the cost of that, and then any money that came in from that race then was extra money for us to continue to do that. So we meet expenses first, and it allows us to promote all of the initiatives that Not for Sale puts out, all the platforms that they have. So for instance, the Rebel Tea company that Not for Sale has launched to help a Peruvian Amazon community become no longer vulnerable to being trafficked. We are able to help fund that initiative. So that's where the money goes to programming and awareness campaigns, and then to actually changing lives.
So how can people get involved with either Not for Sale or Set Free?
Sure. I respond to that question with a question. I ask, what is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you're gifted in? What is it that you feel like you have an expertise in? And then how can we take what you're really good at and do it in the direction of freedom? And so, are you an artist? Then let's paint a painting and find a place to display it, and let's tell the story about human trafficking. Let's move people into action because of what you're skilled at. Maybe you're a musician, you can write a song. Maybe you're a writer, you can write an article or something in the newspaper. And then there's also a place around a table of people, because we want to see society change. And so around the table, we need everybody who's an influencer of society to join that table and to begin the conversation of how can we unite as a society, as a community, to see change happen. And so from that point, we want somebody who represents each influencer of society, each sector of society around that table. And so I would invite anybody with a passion, with an interest to come around a task force table and to start influencing society through local community initiatives.